Coach, thank you for joining us on the call. Just get your thoughts on the win at UConn, please, and what you expect to see as you return home to face Tulsa on Saturday.
Obviously, really excited about the result of the weekend and the performance of our young men. I mean, we weren't perfect. We were far from it. We made some mistakes, and but certainly, going into that game, I've seen that game many times over the years, and you're playing a game in late November in the Northeast, cold weather, on the road. Against a team that's, a much better football team than the general public gives it credit for. Veteran football coach that's had tremendous success. It's a tough scenario and one that you see a lot of teams lose. And so I think that, I'm very pleased with the fact that, our team had, some adversity. There were some times in that ball game where I felt like we were getting ready to put the game away. There was also a couple of times in that ball game where I thought we were getting ready to lose it, and our players never wavered. They never hung their head. They stuck together. Their resiliency was just incredible, and the sidelines with the energy and the attention to coaching and just the support of each other was probably as good as it has been all year, and I think that certainly goes into the way our team responded. The whole scenario of, giving up the long touchdown pass and turning the ball over a couple plays later deep in our territory. I think, early in the year, I don't know if we would have won that ball game. But, our defense forced a three and out, forced a long field goal that was a miss, and then we took the ball and drove the length of the field. And then, in the next possession, made the play to win the ball game down there in the red zone. So I'm very, very pleased with the win. Two road victories this year, which that's maybe a small achievement to some, but we're climbing out of some stuff here. But our players they were really, really solid on Saturday. Really happy for them. It was a really a great atmosphere in that locker room. So. Don't have much time to rest and enjoy it, though. We have a tough football team coming in here this week in Tulsa. You look at the film and you're like, it's hard to understand. This is a 7-8 win team on film. I mean, there's 4 players on between the two sides of the ball. They're as good as any player we faced all year. And then the rest of their roster is a very solid roster. I mean, this is an extremely talented football team. Coach Montgomery's had, a lot of success there at Tulsa. It's going to be a great challenge for us. And so, we've got to have our best week of practice, and, we've got to go out this Saturday and play the best game we've played all year. So if we can do that, then, hopefully we can have a shot.
Any questions for Coach Mike Houston, please? Press star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue, and the operator will introduce you.
First, we'll hear from Stephen Igo with 24/7 Sports. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you kind of hit on it there with Tulsa. Their record doesn't indicate how good they are, but you kind of see some parallels with the 2 seasons you guys have had. I mean, both of you guys have lost some tough games to good teams in this conference, and that kind of makes for an interesting matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's another thing, just like, I caught just the last minute or so of Randy's call right there, him talking about just the strength of this conference. And I think that's what you read into it, because you take Tulsa and stick them in another one of the, non-Power 5 conferences, and they're probably a, 8, 9, 10 win team. But, this is a tough conference. You're going to face some of the best teams in the country each week. And, it's hard to win ball games. And, they've certainly been close a ton. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for what, Coach Montgomery's done with putting this roster together. And the football team is coming in here Saturday.
And I wanted to get a quick recruiting question in for you, Coach. From talking with some of the commits, I know you can't speak in specifics, but it sounds like with the class you guys have put together, the caliber of it, there are some teams, high-profile teams coming after your commits towards the end of this thing. Has that process begun, and do you feel like that's going to be something that in December you guys are going to have to hit on pretty hard?
Oh, I think we're going to have to fight like crazy. There's no doubt. I think all of our commits are very firm with us, though. But you know what? If other teams weren't coming after them, then they would not be the caliber of players that we thought they were. I think that just speaks to the quality of the recruiting class. We're excited about them. I can't wait to get them here. We're going to have, about half of them here in January. So I can't wait to get started with them. But, I've got coaches with plane tickets already and myself included that, come Sunday, it's full throttle recruiting from then until signing day.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
And next we'll hear from Dan Tortora with wakeupcalldt.com. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. I know you said that some of the things that you see in progress may not mean a lot from the outside looking in, but to you, it does. Getting that first conference victory under your belts and be able to build upon that, just what that means to you, even though the record may not state what people from the outside in may want to see, just what that means to you to get a conference victory.
Well, I think if anyone is paying attention at all, then they realize just how well our team has been playing for the past month. But I do think that, for the kids, it validates the process and it validates, their buy-in and their commitment to each other. It's a huge win because, the kids understand just, all those factors I talked about a while ago, about that ball game. And, again, I've seen teams lose that ball game many, many times, whether it's, somebody else in the football world or, I've experienced that before where you go into a game like that late in the year and it's tough to win on the road. So, I think it's a big confidence boost for our players. I think it's the next step, towards what we want to accomplish this first year.
And then for you to be close in some of these games, be knocking at the door against a team like Cincinnati that's representing the East and SMU that's obviously had a tremendous season this year, just what that states about what you're building at East Carolina to push these teams that have been at the top of the AAC this season to the brink.
Well, I just think it speaks to just the progress that we've made. As I said earlier, if we had played that game Saturday back in, late August, early September, I don't know that we would have won it because of the adversity we saw. But, these players, their mindset and their attitudes are so positive, and they have confidence in what they're doing, and they have confidence in each other. And they're doing the things that we're asking them to do on a daily basis. And what they see is when they do things, when they do things correctly in practice, when they do things right and well in practice, then they go out and they do them on game day. And conversely, when they do things poorly in practice, they're seeing those things show up poorly on game day. So really it's a commitment to the process and trying to do things right every day. But I think, they're just gaining more and more confidence in their preparation and this process that we're in the middle of as we, try to rebuild this program.
Well, thank you, Coach, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks a lot. You too.
Thank you.
And next we'll hear from Ronnie Woodward with Greenville Daily Reflector. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. This year will mark Holton Ahlers obviously start Saturday to mark the first time for ECU to start the same quarterback all season since Shane Carden in 2014. How potentially valuable is that just for longevity and consistency to have the same voice, the same guy under center for an entire season with your program right now?
Well, I think that, no matter what program you're talking about at any level, anywhere in this sport, if you don't have consistency at that position, you're not going to be very good. So I think it's critical. The fact that we've had that consistency this year has been important, but I think for our program, the fact that we have that consistency, not only right now but moving forward, I think is pivotal. So, I'm extremely pleased with the progress that Holton has made this year, and I think his play over the last month, shows just a glimpse of the potential that he has and that our team has, because certainly, he is an individual, but he understands that his performance is a result of the improvement of our team. And, just that attitude at that position is so critical. So I think that's an important factor moving forward. And, we got to prepare, the number 2, and we got to prepare the future after he's gone. But right now, we feel very good about the situation we're in right there.
And I have to ask, the video that was posted on Twitter from the locker room celebration on Saturday, old Donnie Kirkpatrick was dancing in the middle of the players there. I'm curious, did he do that voluntarily, or did he get kind of persuaded to do that, or what?
I think that was a spur of the moment deal. There was a lot of celebration in that locker room Saturday. But when you look at those videos, and one thing about it is there's nothing in that moment that is fake. And you see the way the players celebrate with each other, the way they celebrate with their coaches, the way the coaches celebrate with the players. I mean, it's that's what we've tried so hard to create. And I can promise you that was not here December 3rd. And the players have worked so hard to create that atmosphere in our locker room. Where that's not just on game day when we win. I mean, it is really we have a really good locker room right now. And I think that's the most important first step when you're building a program, is making sure your culture is right, and that you have things in place where guys really and truly care about each other. So, we're getting there.
Cool, good stuff. I guess Bob Trott's next then.
I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one.
All right. Thanks, Mike. See you tomorrow.
Thanks. Okay.
Coach, thanks so much for your time, not only today,